Hello and welcome to a new season of XGS. I'm back with my longtime favorite co-caster, Terry. How you feeling to be the opener?
I don't think I've ever been the opener. The show's on the road. Let's get it started. It's great to be here, Cards. XGS is always a fun time. And I mean, we have some great teams popping up. Very quickly put those up in a second. But Cards, we've been through, the qualifiers. We had some invited teams. We went through the play-ins. We went through all that, and there was, some great games. Some people who, worked really hard to get very close and just couldn't quite make it. But we only got 8 teams in XGS, and some of them had to fall. But I think we've managed a pretty cool roster here. Let's go ahead and pop them up. And, Straw Hats, Chimpin, Arial, Karn & Co. Like a lot of big names that you're Kikimori, names that a lot of people are going to know. Who are you excited for? 'Cause honestly, I can't pick.
There's a lot to pick from. See, personally, I think I'm a bit of an oddball here. I'm very much into the newer team, so I'm looking at Straw Hats, the Nugs team. He only started IGLing 4 weeks ago. He's someone that I think you can really keep your eyes on, that entire team. Triple T Esports, most you'll know them from C1 Valhalla, from Challenger Series, the Rice Asian Stack. That's always a fun treat to watch. I think those two are going to be my favorite teams, but I'm keeping my eye on everyone else here. I think they can all still go crazy.
Yeah, I mean, Team Sesh coming in as favorites as they won last XGS, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yes, they did.
that Blackjack has some notable names. Karn & Co. Obviously, it's in the name. They have Karn. Always a solid T2 stat. Chimpin has some pretty good names on, including BJL, who usually plays for Arial is playing with Chimpin for XGS. Arial is also here, so that's going to be interesting to see how that shakes out when that does happen. But yeah, just really excited. I can't even make predictions. These teams, a lot of them are, scrappy. A lot of teams that got upset trying to get here. And I'm looking forward to just seeing how we all shake out. But Cards, yeah. Yes!
I mean, I'm excited. It's the first game of the season. It's the first game under like real, true, tried and true production. And I got Chimpin and Arial Rise. Most you'll probably know Chimpin. They've gone under a handful of names, but they've sort of popped up. You should know them like looking from pack runners. You should know them hopefully for their qualifier run. And I don't think Arial Rise needs any introduction in terms of a team. We know who they are. They've been around since before I was even here.
They've been around since before I was here, Cars. Arial Rise is the T3 org, T2 org. They've been around the block. They've supported NA and even Oceania, just Rainbow Six in general for forever. And they're a great org to see in XGS. And remember what I was talking about? BGL playing for Chimpin, playing for Arial Rise. Well, we already get to see how that's going to shake out, right? Chimpin having BGL, who BGL actually was a menace in qualifiers, was a big part of why I think Chimpin qualified. And of course, Arial Rise, they're going to be missing that player this time around. But of course, this is probably a good time for Arial Rise to kind of look at this and be like, okay, so BGL, how would it playing against us work out? Attacks, defenses. BGL is going to be able to give some insight. Arial Rise, I believe, is still trialing some players for what their final roster is going into Element and stuff like that. So this is also a good time to take basically your second round of interviews going, okay, you could bring in scrims. Now what about your game days?
I mean, yeah, those are very different things. I guarantee you most players would say they just can't compare. A game day and a scrim are two very different things. At minimum, BJL's been here before. He was second place, lost to Team Session Grand Final, so you have that experience. Zonky was on that previous Karn & Co. build with what was arguably one of the singular best performances from a player we've seen in Raid last season. I'm honestly very excited for the core. I think it's a little underrated as is right now, and I think that the deeper we get into play days, I honestly see them placing top 3.
Yeah, Chimpin's a bit of a weird roster to me, simply because they seem to have bits and pieces of everywhere, and a lot of T3, T2 mainstays. So I expect good things from this roster. It's just a matter of how it comes together. Coming into this event, there's teams that have been a cohesive 5 or a cohesive 4 for much longer than Chimpin. But the question is that going to be enough to just handle the raw firepower?
Arial Rise, they're obviously, I think, a beast in their own. Everyone knows the org, but the players have shifted around quite a bit. Adept stays or comes in from what was SSGA last season. Obviously, I think one of the more higher ceiling players is, I think, the youngest as well, certainly in XGS by a pretty large margin, are Ions, Spiff. The roster itself, I think, is still very, very strong, though a lot of unknowns, as you mentioned. There's been so much movement within the team. Trying to find that stable five hasn't been the easiest task, so it's going to be very interesting to see how these play days go. Well, I think they're still trying to work out the kinks.
You know, Adept, solid seasoned player. Ions, I believe, is their IGL as of right now. And I mean, you mean Spiff got top 4 at an SI, dog. You can't, that's kind of hard to match. Yeah, that's not exactly the first game of XGS you want to be going up against. Oh yeah, this guy played T1 at one point. He was like, you know, one of the top 20 players in the world. Okay, whatever, dog. Like, just GG's go next. Nah, the Chimpin's really going to fight this out. They have a little bit of insight, so I think that's going to help them quite a bit. It's a matter of what Arial Rise's actual goals here today is, right? Are you going to, like, you know, bust this out? Really try to, you know, fight for every inch? Is BGL really going to be, like, scanning and being like, okay, I know their strat book, guys. Here's what we're going to do. What kind of game this is going to be is going to really determine, you know, how far we go. Are we going to see an overtime? This is going to be a 7-5, whatnot. Lots of things to find out going into our map picks.
Absolutely, and I think it'll be interesting to see how it rolls. Seen, obviously, Cafe and Borderband early. I honestly kind of hope to see a Cafe. It's one of my favorite maps. Still, I think back to last season when Reapers, of all people, came in and had one of the most generational games for a little bit, but it was not meant to be. Either way, we're going to go to Clubhouse. Standard map to start it off. I was hoping for maybe a Labs when those final bands trickled in, but hey, you can never complain about a Clubhouse.
Clubhouse, Dubhouse. I would say Clubhouse is one of the more unique maps in the pool. It plays pretty differently to most other maps. And I think that's probably going to be to, you know, probably Arial Rise's disadvantage. It can be a bit of a weird map because it can be claustrophobic. You know, there's not a lot of places to hold. You're not exactly rotating around the map very easily. So a solid attack is really necessary. You're going to really be looking for, can you get those cutoffs on the players that do try to rotate? Are you able to clear those roams? What are you going to be able to do, you know, against those defenses? Because you're going to be committing a lot of utility to those site holds. Really, other than the basement, all of the maps are decided, or all of the bomb sites, rather, are decided on the bomb site. Whereas other maps, you know, the round really is swung either way before you even start looking at the bomb site.
Yeah, I think one of the big things that I'm honestly going to be looking forward to is how we're going to see timelines function. Obviously, Arial Rise have Froshi. That's a pretty big advantage to have, is at minimum a major winning staff team. You know, he was with that FET stack back in Manchester. I think that'll obviously be something to keep your eyes on, how maybe he can function if they do go down or need to pull a timeout. Can he pull his team back together? That should be a really nice thing to have come halftime, but at a minimum, I want to see if I can get a prediction from you for game one. Who do you think is going to win?
It would be an upset if Chimpin won, which is why I'm voting Chimpin. Because I don't know ball, and that's the way I like it.
You know what? I respect it. I'm still going to trust Adept and Ions. We've seen the experience. We've seen where they can be. The ceilings from them are crazy high. As much as an upset would be cool, I do think Arial Rise are going to take this and probably a neat 7-4, 7-3. I have a lot of trust in them, in all honesty, and even citing in the attack, I think they can get a 4-2 half and maybe have a huge upset and then really just, you know, pile back on for the defense.
Yeah, Clubhouse is more of a 50-50 map. So you're looking for, okay, is it going to be a 4-2, 2-4, 3-3? You know, does it really matter? Just take it one round at a time. I think Chimpin, as sort of a pug stack, are going to be much better at doing that. Arial Rise, if they get knocked off their game plan at any point, if they start feeling like what they're bringing isn't working, they might start getting more worried. Chimpin, I feel, are going to be much easier to adapt, especially because while Arial Rise do have some really solid seasoned players, some very smart players, so do Chimpin. Chimpin has a lot of solid players. They have some solid firepower to back it up as well. A lot of good minds on that team, so I really think that Chimpin, again, it would be an upset if Chimpin won, but they do have the tools to do it, especially on Clubhouse. It's going to be not super hard to adapt, but it is going to be something that you have to have a mind for, because it's like, okay, well, you can't exactly, you know, hold sites much different. there's only so much room to adapt and improve. So you have to really work about what the micro is. What are you doing that's really losing you those rounds? Is it a utility? Is it an operator you can be bringing that you're not? And so heading in the clubhouse, I think those are questions you're going to have to ask. What happens when these teams start to get behind?
In mind, at a minimum, I'm very, very, very excited. And still, I think I'm sticking with, my pick of Arial Rise. I think the big thing to look for is just how does this, kind of a mini gut of the now gone SHG. But for a little bit, we're going to go to a break. We're going to fix some things on our end. We'll see y'all real soon, hopefully, with map 1. And after a quick little technical pause, we are back with your first match of XGS Season 9. And we get to watch some bands. Any predictions I would expect in a Zombie, Grim? I think those are the two. I'm off entirely. 0% success rate.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're probably going to keep that 0% success rate too, because it looks like Arial Arise really want to go for the play of banning the wall denial, and in fact, they will. Chimpin banning Ace was not on my bingo card either, to be fair. But really, when you play Clubhouse, you have two options. You have the Azami bands, the Mira bands, stuff like that. You have the bands that are really for holding the. You have the ability to deny those operators that hold space really well, make setups really difficult, or you can ban the wall denial operators and make getting the wall just that much easier, and being able to look into the building. That's part of the issue with this. I say issue, this meta. It's part of this meta right now is denying people at every point, right? You want to deny people before they get in the building. Once they get in the building, you don't want them to ever feel safe, and then you don't want them to even be able to look at sight, but if they look at sight, you still don't want them to feel safe. At no point is Chimpin going to be like, okay, you're safe to take this space. No, Chimpin are going to be menaces to society. They're going to hold all the space with this Azami. They're going to have people swinging from the fences with these BMRs, and they're really going to tell Arial Rise, you are not allowed, you are trespassing.
I'm excited, at a minimum. I think the roster, as you mentioned, of Chimpin is the biggest question mark, because this could work amazingly well and be a dark horse and be a terrifying team, or it could fail because it's a pub stack and get slammed by Arial Rise and their new core. A lot of question marks wherever you look. Both teams not really sure in terms of what their team is, their identity. I mean, you can certainly look and see the youngsters of Arial Rise. We'd hope for a little bit more from them. We want to see Ions on the blitz, getting aggressive. Shots fired. Scary will take the first. The ex-SSG Academy player will find the entry. Zonky on the down. Solid Snake. Taken out through the wall somehow. Blitz track through. BJL finds two nice ones. Now a huge amount of the fangs from this attack. Already taken off the board and only 45 seconds in.
I do not know how BGL managed to get the kill on the snake through the wall, but it was super impactful. The fact that they weren't traded either is just icing on the cake. BGL's going to skate away with not care in the world. You've lost your blitz, you've lost your snake. Luckily, you're not too worried about the run there at this point, because you've just been brought all the soldiers back in sight. Arial Rise and down trying to force something, but Wimpy picks up one, refrag. By that player on Arial. Scary now in blue, looking to try and clear. Grouped up, but they seem to know the play is somewhere around here. They don't have the exact info. Bullets fly over the head. Henrio just missing that shot. Still trying to hold this spot. Arial Rise, they're going to reset. They're going to regroup and try to find another way.
A lot on the checklist to be done here. You at least have a Habana and a Grim, so if any two people are going to be live from this core, it might be the best. That late game intel from the Grims, hopefully you can bounce a lucky one. BJ a little bit aggressive. He might be able to find a sneaky pick, or be taken himself by Scary. It's all going to be down to some pretty thin margins here. BJ probably not aware that his life might be in contention soon. A flash will come in, forces it back. BJ will fall off. Good play. Triple kill. Make it a quad. The player that had second place last season, certainly trying to start it off strong here in the next season. Quad kill for BJL.
I just noticed it's very funny that the Arial Arise team has one person with the Arial Arise Arial tag in their name, and Chimpin also have one person with the Arial tag in their name. Just a silly little note. But make no mistake, one is Arial Arise and one is Chimpin. BGL, again, BGL was doing so much for Chimpin during the qualifiers. Chimpin really, they had, solid plays from everyone, but then you had BGL, 13 kills, and it was just, I don't want to say it was the BGL stuff, because again, everyone was pinching in, but BGL is the person to watch, and that's why they are on the team, why they are so successful, why they got second place at XGS last season round. It's, that's the player to watch. And 4 kills, instantly making that statement, all eyes on me.
seconds to go.
And a quick little time to mention, if you did see that little pop-up on the screen, we are doing a marble race at halftime. Something for a little bit of fun, a little bit of whimsy, if you will. I'm honestly excited to watch it. Should be a fun thing to do in the halftime. Make sure to register up before round 5, preferably. Otherwise, you may not make it in time, but at a minimum. Should be a fun little thing to have in between, as we gotta remember that halftime timeout is quite long. Now we're going to see Ions and the entirety in control roster do a bit of a swap up, a little more aggressive, but still keep a lot of their essentials, the Blitz and the Solid Snake to stay, but now they bring just a bunch more utility in the Ying and the Deimos. They're really trying to focus in on the intel here.
I like this help. They're going to block the Chimpin. They are not going to let them see. Of course, the Ying shotgun is of note. It's been picking up popularity here and there. It is a thing that certain players like bringing, and other players, they kind of whatever about it. So teams just don't incorporate it. Let's have its uses. Red Stairs is one of them. This is a close range fight because Ying is not pushing here. They're going to be pushing from plat wall, scary, up the Red Stairs, clearing out BJL. Gets out with their life. That's the most important part, especially after so much damage is done to the Blitz. That is a win in and of itself. So there's not really a worry of we didn't get enough value out of that roam. We've done perfectly good getting rid of a lot of this utility. There's only one Candela left. And you've also made that Blitz much more vulnerable.
Yeah, I mean, overall, good start. Big thing to look for is just make sure you don't lose this wall here, Huds. You gotta be careful of those Habanas. We'll have to fall off for it. Scary. Obviously, gotta be careful. 3 C4s in the hands of Chimpin. Any of them could be disastrously. And he doesn't even have to be directly hit with such low health. Just an indirect impact. Splash damage could catch him out. The Deimos track will go out. Huds will be exposed. A possible fight to be won here, but it's failed. Good play with the 2-brow canister. Buys more time. Keeps him hidden. BJL is exposed, but still no one can find that opening pick. Scary. Likely to try to take the aggressive fight. The C4 misses, but it's a minimum of trade. You will lose the Blitz. Aggressive play now made upstairs. Trying to get things together. Adept needs to find a pick downstairs. Apparently, Spiff's just going to run it down in. Now it's going to be a 2v3. We've seen this before. Arial are performing a little bit better, though. Spiff has 2 really big picks now in a 1v2. Wimpy needs to pick up the pieces by himself. They know where he is, and there's a Deimos track in hand. Doesn't leave a lot to be found here. You need to get really aggressive. Try to find one of these picks, and you will do so. A triple now, looking for possibly 2 quads in a row from Arial Rise. That time looms over your head as Adept forced to pop his Deimos. Vendetta have to do perfection here. You're running around, hasn't quite found the pick. Still dancing, still looking for it. Adapt makes it close. He will close it out. Had a bit of a very worrying thing there. Could have seen 2 quads in a row and a clutch from the side of Chimpin, but Arial Rise do get there first.
Yeah, a rough round for both teams. Certain things just not going the way they wanted. I'm sure Chimpin wanted to get a little bit more out of that red extension than they did. Of course, they did a very good job of falling back. And the tuber route just couldn't quite get anything on the first floor roam. Wanted to either hit a flank or throw a C4. That was the game plan. You could tell they instantly were looking to throw that C4. Couldn't quite catch it. The key play for me that round, though, was the Blitz hopping in through the rotate into Logi. I'm trying to remember the runes there for a second, but the C4 that went out bounced off the shield, flew back and down to the Mira. I mean, that's just a tragedy of events there. Chimpin otherwise would have been a man up and been able to hold that out, most likely being able to play that powerful position behind the Mira, especially because it wouldn't have been destroyed. It would have been very hard to push from that crash side. Of course, just a C4 bouncing the way you didn't expect catches you off guard, and even though Scary lost their life, more geared out that player. Now we're at a 1-1 heading into CCTV. Maverick is up, but not being played. I would expect to see this operate. This is one of their most important sites, I would say, but not to be found. Instead, we'll be only running the Habana and 4 can openers for the hard breach. I'd say only, but that's a lot of hard destruction.
So far, very winnable round. I mean, a minimum, good things shown from Chimpin. Yes, you didn't win last round, but your players continue to show up when necessary. I mean, if this is the play we're going to see long-term, looking very bright futures for what was supposed to be a pug stack, but this so far has played relatively well coordinated. Use their aggression, use the amazing players they've had on roster, and well controlled from them. Hud's a stud, likely the IGL. We'll see, obviously, if it pans out and if things do change with time, but a lot of eyeballs on the team in a minimum. Pug stack, if they can win against Arial Rise, it would be a huge upset, as you mentioned earlier on, and more importantly, it would be a big step in the right direction, and the minimum Wimpy will take a little bit of damage. Razor Blooms causing a bit of a spook to Scary, but will not be slowed down. BJL will find the first.
BGL just will not stop causing problems for his team. His team that he normally plays with, not his coach. Either way, he's causing problems. 5 kills already across 3 rounds and still looking for more. And really just halting this push. Scary is scared to push in. Even with Ions behind them on the Blackbeard, they want to make this aggressive push through Pond, but here's the issue. You got 3 smoke canisters, a nitro cell, an impact nade, all trained this way. Obviously, there could be a thorn gadget just around this corner. He has thrown them all out. The smoke can't stall and the hackers. No push to be had quite yet. This does give Arial Rise some time to reset. We can open prod and see exactly where they want to make it.
Scary, looking to see if there's an entryway here. He's got to likely toss both his smokes. Wimpy, he'll find one in the meantime. Blackbeard down and the diffuser. Not a great position to be in. Your other shield takes some significant damage. Spiff will find one. They go aggressive into the site here. Zonky now trying to make his play upstairs, but spotted. Forces him in a hard position in a bad TK. Bad timing. BJ will try to save. Noki used to set a 2v2. Let's make sure this round can be closed out. BJL obviously been on a banger of a couple of rounds. We have to get aggressive. Scary takes more damage. Adept goes for the plant finally, but fakes it. He's just immediately dealing with 2 sides, but despite the flash, he still figures it out. And Zonky from below, huge round from Chimpin, and another lead take.
That's that game knowledge right there, knowing exactly where you need to put that shotgun blast in order to open up the holes for that retake. Really well done. They've been up 2-1. Again, Clubhouse is a bit of a swingy, a bit of a 50-50 map. No matter if we see a 4-2, 2-4, 3-3, we're not really worried. Again, this is a 1 round at a time kind of map. 3 fairly solid sites. All of them having, pros and cons. The attack having options, but also having some challenges that they need to get over. And then we're going to get...
I love it. I love it. You can't say it's not fun at the minimum.
It's a great shot. Great
Yes.
aim.
Yeah, either way, remember to register for the marble race at halftime. Exclamation point play. Importantly, we got to see what else is going to happen. Will Chimpin have themselves, hopefully, a better round? I mean, a win is a win, but let's hope we can reduce those amount of TKs.
I want to point out, Arial Rise banned Mira. Now, I know we didn't play the Mira, but I don't recall seeing a Mira last round.
10 seconds left.
I'm pretty sure we didn't. And that's weird because I feel like CCTV is the one site where you actually usually see a Mira when it's available. Obviously, they did play it, but they played it for the bedroom, which is not a bad site for Mira by any means. But it's not the one that I usually associate with the operators. Arial Rise, even though the Mira was only brought 1 round, we feel it is problematic enough to get rid of immediately. Now, notably, Chimpin have decided to play this very reserved. They're going to play a very slow turtle setup on the site. They're going to play off the backs of a lot of C4s, play off this clash for intel, and force Arial Rise to make it they don't want to do. And here's the issue. Arial Rise don't really have a lot of ability. They have some flashes, some smokes, sure. That's all well and good, but no Ying. The Grim could be good as well. No glass to really frag out and really hold down those angles. So Arial Rise, they're kind of at an impasse here. This clash counters the blitz very handily. They have a lot of problem solving to do. Luckily, they have all the time to do it because they don't need to spend a lot of time clearing the roam. So this is going to be a really important round to see if the shot calling on the side of Arial Rise is solid enough to figure out a way to see that 2-2.
Interesting start so far. Arial Rise, slowly but surely, making their impact. BJL looking to see if he can catch his luck. Adept will be on the operator soon, refurbished and renewed. Still a favorite of mine. Giving it an AR and making it deal 40 damage and a forced you have to hang up might be unbelievably broken for comp. We'll obviously have to see that later in, but as of right now, still have that good old Dokkaebi, that spam call, gives just intel on everyone. Stud will catch a couple of Grims, but he can run back. The Clash Shield gives him that protection he needs. No fall. Zonky will take himself into the grave. Spiff, BJL, everyone coming online. Now 8-1 from BJL. Ion doing his best on the Blitz, but there's so much going on, and the SMB-12 cannot be stopped. Now left into a 2v3 reversal of quite a few rounds of recent. Arial Arise, they have a good post plant, they have a good angle. Are able to escape. BJ will find himself barely escaping the grass of the hatch. The flashes won't do all too much to the Warden glasses, but you gotta get aggressive here at some point. You're stagnating, you need to really push it. You only have so much time, and with 3 players to clear, it's not gonna be easy. Now it's a bit of a crossplay. You can't go too aggressive on the flash. You have to deal with one or the other. You're gonna see the melees, but still you cannot get the kill. BJL is struggling to find the blitz, and despite the glasses, it will not get done. Now 1v2, if you play your numbers right, this one should be all but over. Stud, a valiant effort himself, but not enough. Spiff will close it out.
Yeah, really just a little too slow on that retake there. Took a little bit for Stud to rotate and help out BJL get out of dirt. And of course, also, again, Chimpin, they didn't extend out, they didn't roam, they didn't cause any problems that round. They didn't force Arial Arise to clear, bring this utility, and in Chimpin's defense, Arial Arise were locked for that roam clear. They had the Blitz, they had the Snake, the Dokkaebi. How effective a roam game would have been, a little bit up in the air, but at the same time, because you didn't have that roam game, because you said they're going to be locked for the roam clear, let's not even worry about it, they had a lot of time to say, okay, we're going to open this up, put pressure here, pressure there. They could move their chess pieces however they wanted to. I mean, imagine a chess game, right, where you have infinite moves. You just have to figure out the solution to win it all. And that's what Arial Arise did. They managed to set up their checkmate, Chimpin without any moves of their own. Not take it over the line now as we head into round 5 on this bar. Sorry. I wish we were going bar. That would have been a good time. This bedroom and gym site is up to Chimpin to reclaim their lead on a site that they were so close to winning, but lost it out in the 1v1.
And just in resurgence to this, I had quite an interesting conversation with Chaka. Many of you will likely know him. In what was a talk of, in a cast about the rise of triple intel, how it went from a niche play that was good to now it feels unbelievably commonplace. It sort of kicked itself from, as I mentioned, niche play into the mainstream, into a lot of comp teams, lineups. In the past 3 or 4 months or so, it really has been that way. You're going to see the Grim, Solid Snake, and Adept on Deimos. A lot of intel, and that's the big thing, is it should make it a little bit easier to clear out these hard-to-fight players. BJL, obviously the biggest nuisance, but I would not be surprised at all if Wimpy or Zonky can come back in and get a pick. As I said, though, Adept already low, Deimos tracks might not be as effective as he wishes. He's already on 1 HP.
Yeah, I mean, the intel is still good, but you have a lot of teammates that does not want to take that pistol anymore. BJL has no such issue at full HP, 9 kills already. Again, I'm just going to keep talking about BJL's kills until it becomes a broken record. Mr. Grimby's just opting out. This is a very solid attempt for Arial Arise to clear out the red. But they don't see the player swing the CCTV door. Now let's Zonky get 2 instantly to the their teammate, but net pick up the kills even from 1 HP. Still gun in hand, still able to frag.
Doesn't know.
Reverse will pop into sight. Stun alone. The 1v3. Not on sight. Only a dream. Has to retake against Spiff in reverse. Only 2 kills. We'll need to double that. Get this much.
Post plant will finally start to leak in here. Spiff will be the one on it. Reverse with the F2. The damage of the fire and a force him in a bit of a position. He can't do much in a point where doing something is unbelievably important. He's stuck kind of just dodging a bit of fire. Any tick would end him here. So hoping for maybe someone to swing in, someone to fall for a bait, but it won't happen. I don't know what the plan is here. And I think he knows that this round is going to be so much harder with only, 10 seconds or so to work with. And Spiff will do it out. Ions in the alt chat. More importantly, another Arial Rise round.
Really hero players from both sides, right? You had the 1 HP player getting 2 kills, super important. And you can't really ask much more from that, right? 1 HP and still able to frag out, get those kills. Really important kills, too. Clearing the top right of the map. Obviously, we caught that beautiful shot from reverse. Didn't even know it was coming. The Goyo gets sent out of the map. Now, Chimpin looking to fight for that 3-3 half. Arial Rise. Feeling comfortable. Again, I was worried that if Arial Rise started to fall behind and things weren't going their way, that they would start to get a little bit flustered, a little bit of, okay, guys, well, what do we do now? I've not seen such issues. Caster was wrong, believe it or not. Arial Rise are locked. Chimpin are the ones on the back foot looking to get something done. Of course, we return to the basement. Will we see any sort of extension is the real question for me. And seeing as how BJL is currently in CCTV as a zombie, I can only imagine we are going to see a pretty big extension.
I would almost assume he's going to play his life here. I don't see an easy way to fall off. You do have Wimpy up there, so it does help. This isn't a isolated roam, but it does feel like when you go up there, you're expecting a minimum 1 or 2 people to die. Zonky may be considering playing upstairs, but will fall back off. Lot to be done here for the group. Arial Rise hoping to prove my predictions right and get a 4-2 half and then try to dominate on the defense. As of right now, it's fine but slow. As long as they keep track of their pacing, I don't think there's anything too much to worry about. Especially with how strong they've been able to get into a post-plant situation. Their executes have been elite. Not to hope for. Ions will be the main intel op here for the majority of the round. A bit of a goof up accidentally will mean 1 more Habana pellet used. Zonky deals with an aggressive player and stops Habana. He himself being a Captain America for the team. Arial Rise down 2 bodies. I thought it'd be a much stronger start from them. Just so many good rounds in a row, but looking maybe we're gonna get a 3-3 half as they're already down 2 bodies and some change with that health.
Chimpin really were bringing a bunch of impacts to deny this Habana, but Spiff made the job easy and kept shooting 4 Habana pellets on the hatch. Normally what you see is a player will put 2, try to detonate it, get impact trick, put 2, get impact trick, detonate it. Of course, Spiff, now not having the ability, will go ahead and become the star of the show, pick up another kill. Of course, when your team is down, they need to just make big plays in dirt. It is a 1. You're not going to get crossfired in dirt. It's just the player ahead of you that you have to worry about. Of course, coming out of dirt is an entirely different ball game. You're hoping your teammates can get something else going elsewhere. Of course, Death and Ions might be able to, but no, gets shut down coming down blue, which means Spiff isolated in dirt. Adept has to do something here, has to back up their teammate, make something happen, turn the attention to them. Otherwise, Spiff is just a dead man walking. But everyone is dead from Arial Rise. Chimpin to close out the half. And it's time for Marble Racing.
Hey, I mean, it's an exciting thing. It's something new. We can't ever complain about that. And more importantly, 3-3 half. Now, let's get ourselves into some Marble Racing. Let's see what we can have for our new halftime show. Hey, we had some fun. You know what? I like it. I like the new adaptation. That, in fact, I want to see that more. I want to see 85 marbles next time chasing it down. But we do have to get back to a regularly scheduled Siege game. And more importantly, an even half. I was wrong. I expected a 4-2 from Arial Rise. They will have to work with a 3-3 as you kind of expected and alluded to. And apparently Ions is talking about soup in our all chat.
Soup's good. This was a beautiful impact, right? They knew what to expect, but they could not quite get the kill. Great C4 as well. Yeah, Chimpin managed to make a 3-3. Their defenses are over, unless we go ahead and get to overtime. Gotta work for it, though. Both teams have to work for it, as we are still even. And we will see Arial Rise attempt the basement in their own Arial Rise way. Of course, what that's going to be is probably pretty similar to how Chimpin did it, at least in some regard, because we see reverse inside of construction upstairs on the second floor as mute. It was zombie for them. At least they didn't bring it. It is still on the board, should they wish to utilize it. Bandit's also on the board. You saw the double Golden Isle ban. Chimpin only banned the feed for some reason. I do wonder if that is specifically for the basement, simply because opening up Moto Hat can be kind of difficult. There are a few tricks and operators to get to it, but being able to just ban it and save yourself a totally heartache easier.
There's one thing that I'm worried about here with what I think is a relatively fine roam. There's one person in sight right now. Ions can kind of run back in time, but if Spiff dies, this is going to be a very horrifying round. So maybe Chimpin can read into that and cause chaos into the site. As of right now, that roam will stay adept, and Ions playing on that first floor, so an easier fall off of playing all the way upstairs, in between, if you will. Overall, scary though. 1-1. Might have the pre-fire in the play. BJ will fall, but traded out by Inrio. Would have preferred to keep a pick in one direction, but we stayed an even 4-4 as a roam still eludes over. Reverse will be the last one sitting upstairs on the mute.
Ions is in lounge on the Solus, but yeah, as for second floor, it is just reverse, and they know they're there. Candela cooked, and they're gonna send it in and probably swing off of it. Of course, do they have any support? Do they have the drones? There is the mute for Intel Denial, and there's also Adept on the Vigil. So, even if you have drones, you might not be able to trust them. Of course, Adept being in the basement does mean any Vigil tracks will likely give away that they are nowhere near Logi. And I said the Candela was cooked, but Reverse has rotated the construction, and Zonky is not operated off of that Candela at all. Adept instead trying to fight through the ceiling, looking for these players, SMG-12 in hand, but it is a circus as they dance around each other, missing at every available opportunity. Will flank through blue, shut down, and the early execute goes out. Here comes Zonky with the Candelas.
Slowly but surely, Spiff still finding picks. A Ying shotgun. Ions through the flash and a hip fire, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, 1v3 would look to be a lockdown of a round. A much harder position. Still winnable. We know HUD's can get some big stuff on the board, but Ions and the SMG-11 is apparently too much for anyone to stop tonight. That'll be two beautiful kills. One of them threw a flash somehow. Absolutely nuts from him. And yes, Ions, we did in fact see that.
All right. That was a round of all time, perhaps. We didn't drone out the player on main stairs, by the way, guys. We knew they were extending. We knew they were roaming. You're not going to open up kitchen hat and then not have some weird crazy. Just heads up. Chimpin, of course, they just didn't quite know about the... I almost said Solus, but it was not the Solus there. It was the Scopos, the other S name. Scopos on main stairs. They did manage to get the refrag, but they were just chilling a mute jammer. Maybe they were hoping for some utility to be able to identify where they were. By the way, Chimpin lose that round. Arial Rise claim it off the back of a solid roam and solid site play to counter out that execute in the late round. This time, though, we're going to Bedroom Gym, where the site is completely different. But the operator lineup, I was going to say, didn't change much, but I I made the mistake of trying to talk about the operator lineup before it's locked in. We'll swap off the game to a thermite, so a lot of hard breach available and a lot of grenades as well. Chimpin bringing 6. Clear out all the players and all the Azamis and everything you could ever dream of. You get a couple of kills off the back of them too.
Well, I can at least vaguely sense a plan. You have Deimos tracks, you have a ridiculous surplus of grenades. I think we can both infer that a lot of nades are about to be chucked to some very unfortunate people, and Adept might be the brute front of that. We'll see if the Deimos and Co. encircle around him, but as of right now, that's the biggest worry. Adept's going to be floating around on that CCTV rafter side. Problem is he might be cut off pretty early here. Adept already possibly going to be forced back or into a corner. However, the 2R will buy him just a few precious seconds, continue to keep a roam alive, and even a couple of drones lost. I'm surprised there hasn't been a pick or really any aggressive play from Chimpin. They've kept it relatively passive in the first minute, still at that 5v5.
I'm mad 4 win deep. That Ashtar should have at least got one of those. Whatever. Adept just gonna chill behind these zombie arcades. As soon as that wall gets open, they will be isolated with no available support. Of course, their teammates already kind of just leaving them to their own devices on top raft. The zombie will pick up, go on to reverse. So, Adept well and truly alone on the rafters. 90 hits one, tries to escape. The zombie barricade doesn't deploy the way they expect. So as they try to skate away, Zonky will get that cutoff finally. Arial Rise down a man. Still plenty of time for Chimpin to make something happen. Just a matter of getting set up and doing it. Do not do your due diligence. Arial Rise will punish that. So you gotta take it slow. Gotta do what you gotta do. Arial Rise will do away with you.
BJL at 9-5. He's probably the big person to look to. Has been a bit streaky. We've seen quite a few times where it's been a drought for him, and then you're going to see a round where he'll do everything he can to make sure you win. Hopefully this turns out to become one of them. A Valkyrie well played, a C4 wide, and Scary will find a nice pick. Much more equaling. I think the nice thing to have is get rid of that annoying Deimos, a little less intel to work with now. All those lion scans gone leaves much easier play in the last 30 seconds, but now it's the game of the C4s. Spiff and Ions both have one. A post plant likely to be the only option. Spiff will throw his. Now you're just going to be down to Ion C4. Scary somehow finds one. Now even just Hudson another 1v3. He needs a miracle to pull it out in 10 seconds. A lot of good DMR sprays, but isn't even going to find one. Scary with an amazing triple kill on his game. Already Arial Rise has been much better.
Valcam stonks are so up. Didn't see a lot of those pings. I'm sure they existed, or at the very least the camera could call out the exacts. Either way, it would be even more impressive if it was just off the back of just game knowledge, but I highly doubt that. I think the Valkyrie did a lot of work there. We saw the pings on the first C4 kill through the floor. Great way of using the utility. And that's why Valkyrie is such a dangerous operator, such a powerful operator. Very rarely banned, but has been a consistent mainstay of Pro League. Practically untouched and still in the meta after, how long has it been, Cards? 10 years? Yeah, Valkyrie's just that operator. So, seeing them come to fruition there, not a big surprise. Of course, Arial Rise have one more round of being able to abuse either the Valkyrie or the zombie. One of those operators have to go and check and know it.
10 seconds.
Now, they're going to keep playing off of their powerful pieces.
5 seconds left.
Oh, they are going to swap to the IQ. Again, I keep trying to talk about the lineup before it happens, Cards. You got to stop. You got to hold me back.
It's the caster curse. It will strike you down when you feel it, when you're in your mood most, when you're getting the best points out. They're going to swap immediately to counteract said points. But EJL will stay on the Deimos despite what has been a not so great couple of rounds. He will keep on it. Hopefully we can see him pick it back up when Chimpin needed most, trying to stave away a match point. Preferably make this one close and push for an overtime or maybe a regulation win. Hud's a stud. Still at 3 and 6 on the Maverick. He'll be the one likely to try to find main wall. And the only one that could really do so, I think, with the very annoying two brows. We'll see how it's played out at minimum. Zonky slowly getting things open. Slowly but surely. A lot to be done, but He's doing it the right way.
They'll bring a bandit, but they're opting not to, and I think that's for the best. Subaru is doing a good job of stalling, which is the only goal that Arial Arise really have with these walls, is to make it a little bit slower to open up. That's why you see that's why you see Chimpin getting to them a little bit early. Not only you don't really need to open the breach immediately, it's nice to have, but you can open it at any point in the round. But with the Tubarão up, you really just want to start threatening it immediately, get it open so that way you know you can push through it instead of coming into the late round and having to come up against it. Of course, it doesn't mean that reverse is now just a DMR and a C4. That's a bad thing, but you have used your utility for the round. They're just kind of setting up, and it looks like they're going to have this one player on main breach and everyone else pushing con side. C4 goes deep, doesn't quite catch anyone. Chimpin are getting set up, so Arial Rise, they're getting a little bit suffocated here inside the CC.
Couple of exploratory shots, hoping to maybe find a pick, but you're not going to have it as easy as you'd hope. Reverse gets close, but close won't do all too much here. Back Zonky will throw away the final thermite charge. A player in the corner, a C4 to save the wall. Very costly way to deal with it, but I think in this case might be worth it in all honesty. Keeps the wall closed, buys you more time with the Goyos already, creating a bit of a net. You can't come in. They shall not pass for at least a little bit longer, and BGL will be forced to regroup with his team, trying to see if he can get something done maybe below. Scary waits. His feet could be found. That would be a huge thing to find. Reverse goes down through the ceiling. Huge spot to have happen. BGL apparently better when he can't see what's happening. Ions and Scary trying to keep it together in a 2v3, but BGL has a much bigger round from him. Ions now pops out. Is defused. No, they left it on the floor. The fire might cause an issue. Take damage is gonna hurt like hell. Ions with a triple. Huge play from him. 500 IQ if I've ever seen it. It won't matter what you do. It's an easy closeout. A crazy play, in all honesty, to make in that kind of moment. Have that adaption.
Sorry, you're gonna have to give me a little bit, Cards. I'm really. That was a Chimpin round. They countered the rat player inside of CCTV, or sorry, not CCTV, cache. They countered the rat player in cache. They had so much control around the site. Nothing was going Arial Arise's way. They get one frag on the guy holding diffuser, and that's the ballgame. That's it. Arial Arise to match point. That's all they needed. And that and some smart thinking with a Goyo canister in pocket. Why was the Goyo canister in pocket? Don't ask questions. There was a vision. There was a vision. Yeah, no, I was just pocketed the can the entire round.
Hey,
it's so peak.
Listen, maybe he just knew, bro. Maybe he just knew. He was expecting the play. He knew he was going to need one later on. I mean, there's only so many entrances. If you really think you can find value in pocketing one, listen, I'm not going to stop you at this point. That was a beautiful play from Ions. He will now switch positions. Spiff will sit likely more in sight. Ions will be off on the roam with Vigil and that Boss G. Crazy round still. And now a match point. It feels like this game has gone by in a flash. Arial Arise now set a chance to win this in regulation, and a strong one at that, where it has been a genuinely amazing defensive half from them. Spiff having obviously some very good moments. Ions having a crazy play that I think is going to be one that'll be clipped and highlighted. Overall, a very good start, and makes it look even better. Is Scary. The ex-SSG Academy player will find the first in a round. So important. And immediately your top frag, the person you've relied on for the big rounds, is on the floor and down. You need someone else to step up here.
Still a little mad about that one. I hate getting spawn peek, but oh well. Now you have to play in the 4-5 down. I do have to say that Chimpin a little bit less. Or why are we doing Bandit? How many times have we seen Bandit in this game? Other than it being banned. The first that's fine, whatever. We then banned Bandit for third operator pick. Alright, I feel like, Boyo, Zombie, Valkyrie, anything other than the Bandit, which has not been seen, had no impact in the game, and I guess that's the way you like it. Chimpin nothing going for them. A basement defense, all of their players either on the second floor or outside, looking at the second floor, hoping they can clear the roamers that are not on the second floor. And we're already halfway through the round. Arial Rise in full control, and Chimpin need something huge here, Cards. And by huge, I mean humongous. Empire State Building size in order to get themselves back in.
So far, as mentioned, you need a miracle and a half, and Wimpy finding one will certainly help. Adept will fall. Now immediately a trade, though. The roam's still going around. Reverse now has to run for dear life. Opts to go even more aggressive. Gamble this round even more. That Scopus will save him. Get out of jail free card, and one that was used near perfectly from him. Chimpin now scrambling together to get an execute with a minute left. I'm never going to call it impossible, especially with a team with Wimpy, Huddestad, and Zonky, people that we've seen go big and have gone big in this match before, but the odds flip they're against you. The Goyos will be popped slowly but surely. They know the amount of ways you can come in here are going to be enclosed. You're going to have to rely on Huddestad with that Black Witcher to be your entirety of your bastion into any real leeway. The hatch will finally fall. Zonky with being shotgun, playing in the corner. Expected Ions finds it. Now 4v2. Huddestad taking a bit of damage and may have a pick, but Wimpy will punish the aggression. A 2v3. Now it's all about closing it out with the Goyos coming outwards. This round should be nearly impossible to win. There's only so much you can do. Now you need Wimpy to get a plant down, but he has to try to run around. If he falls, it's over, but they might save the round. Now a 1v2. Spiffies go crazy. It's all about the timing here. Aggressive play. No way! He pulls it out! My God.
We had the early GGs, and I thought we were going to have a moment. And Spiff certainly had a moment. Didn't get top 4 at SI for nothing. I mean, MVP for sure. Racking up them kills. Obviously, the hero play at the end of the 1v2. 7-3. Arial Rise Cards. You couldn't have been more on the money. To take this game is so impressive. Chimpin, they had good moments. They had something going. There was something tangible there. And then they let it float away. With that, their chances also blew away. Arial Rise on takeoff. And the first game of XGS being a stunner for them. Exactly the way you want to start the league. Has been entertaining all the way through. There's still more entertainment to come, Cards.
Yeah, but you can't complain about what we saw in game 1 of an opener. We had the craziest ending you could ask for in regulation. You have genuinely amazing things, and it'll be very, very interesting to see how it comes in. At minimum, I'm excited. Chimpin, despite the loss, BJL had a couple of good rounds. We'll have to see what comes on later. See you later.